is not working, right? It's not working at all. So they have to be like, oh, actually, it wasn't about Israel. It's actually about he's anti-democratic or whatever. Here, let's start with Mark Levin.
Hey, folks, Mark Levin here.
About the concept of
that it was okay to murder an insurance CEO that mounts a tongue who killed 60 million people.
He
is one
ends
of the
up advocating to kill me on this. Master Sheikh does. Hold on.
Greatest human beings to ever walk the planet. That 9/11 was a good thing. It ought to be celebrated. That October 7 was a good thing, and you don't give a damn about the rapes and the debauchery. That it's okay to steal. That you believe in stealing. Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. Should society give a person like that the rights and the privileges and the freedoms that he would deny the rest of us? Should society do that? Put aside the Bill of Rights and everything. I'm not talking about that. Should society, any society, but certainly our society, a free society, should that society protect or confer on that individual these privileges and these rights when that individual uses those privileges and rights in hopes of destroying ours? I'm talking about a man named Hasan Piker, who most of you have never heard of before. Hasan Piker is an Islamist jihadi. Born in the United States, raised in Turkey, indoctrinated, came back to the United States, went to college in the United States, worked for a show called The Young Turks, which is a Marxist Islamist show, broke off when his podcast started to take off, about 8-9 years ago. Now he's embraced by Democrats. Here he is at the New York Times yesterday on their podcast, which is one of the biggest in the country, and they're treating him like he's just a regular guest. Cut 14, go.
Engels wrote about the concept of social murder. And Brian Thompson, as the United Healthcare CEO, was engaging in a tremendous amount of social murder, the systematized forms of violence, the structural violence of poverty, the for-profit paywalled system of healthcare in this country, and the consequences of that are tremendous amounts of pain, tremendous amounts of violence, tremendous amounts of deaths. And that was a fascinating story for me, because Americans are very draconian about crime and punishment. They're very black and white on this issue. And yet, because of the pervasive pain that the private healthcare system had created for the average American, I saw so many people immediately understand why this death had taken place.
I want you to think about this for a minute. We have the best healthcare system in the world that takes care of more people with quality healthcare than any other in the world. Is it imperfect? Yes. What isn't imperfect that mankind is involved in? But it's an incredible system that saves lives left and right, not just in our country, but all over the world. But that's not even the point. He's justifying the murder of a CEO of an insurance company, blaming that CEO for the death of untold numbers of people, or the hardship or the pain of untold numbers of people. And he's citing Engels, who was, attached at the hip with Marx. It was Marx and Engels who wrote so much of what Marx is credited with writing.
I love that.
He's a Marxist, is this guy Piker. He's an Islamist, is this guy Piker, as I keep explaining over and over again about the the marriage, the fusion of the two.
Saying I'm a Marxist Islamist is really funny. Like, Marxist is fine, yes, but Islamist? Buddy, between you and I, who has more fundamentalist values, you think? You know? Like, it's just, it's so stupid. It's such a stupid thing that these guys say all the fucking time. It's like, brother, you and the things that you advocate for is infinitely closer to the average Islamist. He called TYT Marxist Islamist? That's so funny. Okay.
Piker has not only celebrated Engels, he has celebrated Mao, who killed 60 million people. But he celebrates Mao, the CEO of the insurance company United. He didn't kill anybody. It certainly wasn't his goal. It was Mao's purpose to eliminate the non-believers, just as the jihadis believe in eliminating the non-believers. You think I'm kidding about this stuff? I am not. So Piker is treated like just another commentator by the New York Times, by other media outlets. Democrats want to be on his program, want to be platformed there like Ro Khanna, who represents one of the wealthiest districts in America, Silicon Valley. And others who wish to be on his program. This is a man who celebrated 9/11, says he'll always celebrate 9/11. This is a man who talked about killing Senator Scott because he didn't like his position on Medicaid. But there's more. Cut 15, go.
I'm pro piracy all the way, like across the board. Would you pirate a car? Yes. You know, if you could,
Stealing.
if
Hijacking.
one could
pirate a car.
It was just a classic thing back in the day. The government funded anti-piracy.
Bro, I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't know. I feel like I have this effect on the lead poison generation a little bit, where they just like lose their fucking mind. They're like, I don't know if the fact that someone like myself can have any voice in mainstream news reminds them of how close they are to their end, right? Like, maybe I just remind them of their age, remind them of death and all the fear that comes along with it. But this is not like a normal amount of anger, right? It's not like fear baiting and saying like, oh, this guy is, classic. He's just like the classic fake socialist, fake commie. He's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. No, they're like, this man wants to assassinate every Republican senator. He wants to do a 9/11 every day. Like, they don't have like a normal framework to operate off of. And I don't know what it is. I think they just like, they see this and they're like, how could this be happening? How could a person whose opinions are, in my opinion, fairly mild, adjusted to the rest of the world, certainly, how could a guy with such radical opinions have any placement in mainstream news? And I think it's because they're so used to winning. They're so used to dominating discourse. This shit has less than 3,000 views on YouTube in 17 hours. Why are we even watching it? Dog, do you know who this is? You know, Donald Trump will regularly post calling Mark Levin the great Mark Levin, will literally tell people to go watch, like tune into his show. Did you just think this is some random dickhead podcaster? Is that what you think is going on? Oh, look, why are you giving attention to this like random irrelevant podcaster who couldn't even get more than 2.7K views in 16 hours? That's what you... This is his fucking radio show. He's probably going to talk about this tonight on the Mark Levin show or whatever the fucking Mark Levin show is, which happens to be Donald Trump's favorite broadcast. I have a conservative dad in his mid-late 60s, and I legit thought every person knew who Mark Levin was because I listened to him growing up every day with my dad in the car. Lamau, yeah. Yeah, he's like every boomer whose net worth is over $500,000 is tapped into the Mark Levin broadcast. Okay, they're locked in. Go talk to your racist parents. They probably know who fucking Mark Levin is. If you're over the age of 65, you know, that's the older you get, the more likely it is that you love Mark Levin. He sucks, by the way, but I think it's a bad precedent and really harmful for you to be platforming Mark Levin to your audience. My bio dad fucking worships Mark Levin. We don't talk because of his brain rot. Yeah. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh and Mark Levin. It's just funny because it's literally, Trump calls him the great Mark Levin, okay? He doesn't even just say, oh, hey, you guys should go tune into Mark Levin show. He goes, tune in to the great Mark Levin's broadcast where he will be offering the next steps on what we must do as far as Iran. Like, these guys writing American foreign policy. And you're over here being like, what the fuck do you care about this dude? Yeah, Mark Levin is the HasanAbi for every fucking boomer racist, okay? Right now, at least.
It is would be like, dude, would you steal a car? I'm like, yeah, sure. If I could get away with it, if it was as easy as, pirating IP.
No, I know Mark Levin calls himself the great one, but it doesn't matter. The fact that the president is also calling him that is crazy.
I would do it. Yeah.
Would you dine and dash?
First of all, this guy's a multimillionaire, and I guarantee if somebody stole anything from him, he'd have a whole different attitude. But it doesn't matter. My question to you is...
I like that he cut me off from me right before I say, like, no, of course I wouldn't steal from, I wouldn't dine and dash. I like that he...
We go through this as freedoms and protections them. Murder. God. I don't know how he's still walking freely, to be perfectly honest with you. Go ahead.
Never. Never. Tip 35%. Mike's, come on.
No, I wouldn't do that. And if I saw somebody doing that, I'd probably pay for their meal.
Yeah. Would you steal a book from the library?
Never.
No.
Would you steal from the Louvre?
Yes.
I would not be logistically capable of executing such a fact, but would
now,
I...
These New York Times interviewers think this is a joke.
Because
Giggling.
it is!
Stupidly. What is it with the cackling and the giggling? Kamala Harris, Tucker Carlson, these people, what is that? Go ahead.
On every news story of people that I see doing it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's cool. We gotta get back to cool crimes like that. Like, bank robberies, right? Stealing priceless artifacts, things of that nature. I feel like that's way cooler than the 7,000.
Well, you should give out his address, keep his door open, tell everybody what kind of car he has and where it is, and then we can all be cool, right, Mr. Producer?
Right,
Give us
Mr.
access to
Producer.
his bank account. Yeah, we all want to be cool. Over at National Review Online, Charles C.W. Cook, who's a brilliant writer, he says Hasan Piker is the enemy. The lefty streamer repeatedly made clear his disdain toward the fundamental rules that keep our society together. Contrary to the mewling declaration of the eternal political weather.
Yeah, Mark Levin heard women laughing at something I said and went, why are women happy? I've never heard this noise coming out of a woman before. He is heavily alluding that you and the other libs he mentioned are demonic. That's why he brought up the cackling bullshit. Yeah. It's funny. Are you scared Trump will talk about you by the end of the weekend? A little bit. He even had his call-ins at the end, and some boomer said Hasan Piker is the enemy. Yeah, I do worry a little bit that like some fucking random right-wing boomer is going to try to boom me,
Ezra Klein It seems clear to me that the most opposite way to describe the online left's latest darling.
Because, like, look, the most prominent example of this is Tiller the baby killer, right? That's what what's his face? Oh my God, I'm forgetting his fucking name now. It's not Rush Limbaugh. Bill O'Reilly would say every night on his news broadcast that this doctor that was performing abortions was a baby killer, and someone actually killed him. Like, someone literally went to his church that he was at church service and shot and fucking killed him. So I do worry a little bit that, like, they're trying to put the beat on me. They're trying to put a crosshair on me in the same way where they're, like, talking this much to try to get one of their schizo fucking fans that's, like, 65 years old to use his arsenal of weapons on me. You know, trigger a little bit of stochastic terrorism. And it's not great. I'll admit, it's not fucking great. I don't like it, but what are you going to do?
The Twitch streamer Hasan Piker is indeed as the enemy. In a rambling group chat that was filmed and transcribed by the New York Times this week, you heard part of it, Piker repeatedly made it clear that he is disdain toward the fundamental rules that keep a society together. Among other things, Piker defended the murder of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, whom he deemed to have been guilty of a tremendous amount of social murder, suggested that he would happily steal a car if he could get away with it, and laid out a complex framework for when it is acceptable to shoplift, when the victim is big corporations, and when it is not, when the victim is taxpayer-funded with union labor and adjusted prices. Also, okay, per Piker, is IP theft, stealing movies, things like that, quote-unquote, to which Piker's interlocutors, the Times' Nadja Spieligman and the New Yorker's Julia Tolentino, responded, wow, that all seems utterly psychotic. Have you considered getting professional help? Nah, I'm just kidding. In reality, Tolentino responded by explaining that she's opposed to profoundly selfish, immoral, collectively destructive actions, such as getting iced coffee in a plastic cup or flying on airplanes for pleasure, but that she's supportive of selfless, moral, collectively constructive actions, such as blowing up a pipeline. And Spieligman responded by saying, I can relate to what we're saying, Gia. It is hard to live ethically in an unethical society. Sick. Is it? I must confess, he writes, that I do not find it so. But then, unlike Piker, Tolentino, and Spieligman, what a peculiar law firm that would make, I do not spend my days sitting on sofas pondering aloud whether it would be proper to rob the Louvre. No doubt, this makes me some sort of plotting, unfashionable reactionary, but I'm rather steadfastly of the view that the norms that the Times trio are hoping to dismantle are the core non-negotiable building blocks of a civilization. It's not, in fact, acceptable to murder people because you think they are social murderers.
It's funny because, like, I know that you're not supposed to demonstrate intellectual curiosity at all when you have these sorts of conversations. It's much easier to dismantle a straw man that you design, that your interlocutors or your ideological opponents are engaging in, and that's precisely what they're doing here. But the conversation was literally exactly what these guys are fucking complaining about. The ripping apart of the social contract as a consequence of systemic harm that people are experiencing, and how that leads to antisocial behavior, illegal activity, and the people's reception to antisocial behavior like murder, illegal behavior, immoral behavior like murder or theft, is nowhere near as angry or as upset as people used to be at these sorts of things. Because if society's not working for you, you just don't give a shit if it starts not working for anybody else, right? And the argument that I presented over and over again is that the rich are not only violating the social contract with regular frequency, but they've also designed society in a way where the social contract is no longer holding for the average person, for the little guy, you know? And that's what it is. That's what's going on here. And these guys are so desperate to not have that conversation at all because their job relies on them upholding these systems, upholding this idea that, like, yeah, if you're fucking, if you're a working guy, if you're a regular guy and you're failing to make ends meet, that's kind of your own moral failing. That this system is the best designed system out there. No better system could ever be designed. And you need to shut the fuck up. You better not even, you better not even address any of these problems. Right?
It's not, in fact, acceptable to steal cars if you can get away with it. It is not, in fact, acceptable.
That's a joke. Okay, Mark, calm the fuck down. It's pretty funny. Mark Levin has zero juice. No, he does. He has juice because the president loves him.
Shoplift that the store in question is owned by a big corporation. And no, blowing up pipelines is not, in fact, a thing that should be legal. That isn't. John Locke contended that all individuals possess a natural right to life, liberty, and property. And as a guiding principle, this has served us pretty well. It has not, of course, ended political debate or forced us into universal accord, but it has established a rule that one does not get to infringe upon those things simply because one has deemed oneself exempt. Hasan Parker seems to believe that his reference to Frederick Engels, his social murder concept, is extremely clever. In truth, it represents nothing more than sophistic special pleading. If permitted to do so, everyone could play this game. Piker's argument is that by allocating resources as he did, Brian Thompson killed people. But one could offer precisely the same justification against politicians who run the government healthcare systems that Piker covets, or against...
Wait, what? Is he saying I'm in favor of like Obamacare or something? Like, no. The system itself is consistently leading to the excess deaths to the tune of 68,000 people a year who don't get the medical coverage because they can't pay for it, and then they fucking die. These are preventable deaths in the wealthiest nation on the planet. Okay? Social murder is the concept that looks at this kind of systematized form of structural violence, the structural violence of poverty, the lack of care for many, when we have an abundance of resources, when we totally have the wealth to take care of everyone, and says, that's a death to the individual no matter what, right? Even if it's invisible, even if it's seen as like business as usual, from the perspective of the victim's family, that's still a death. And that's precisely my point. Like, a lot of people, even in a country as draconian and as the United States of America, look to the assassination of Brian Thompson. And before they knew who the shooter even was, and some might say we still don't know, right? Allegedly. As soon as they knew what this person's job was, what this person's role was as the CEO of a healthcare company, they understood what was going on. They understood that this was revenge. This is not an endorsement of decentralized modes of violence. This is analysis. If you ask me why people reacted the way that they did, I'm going to give you a fucking honest answer. Okay? We don't need to do a million different versions of throat clearing off that before we arrive at the systemic harms that privatized healthcare insurance companies create in American society. We have the real numbers. Like I said, the Yale study that showed 68,000 excess deaths take place a year.
Contractors whose budgets do not perfectly inoculate their apartment buildings against arson. Or if one were to be fixated upon his refusal to donate his wealth to the world's poor, against Piker himself. In this country, we do not leave it up to each person to determine what extent each individual is murderable. We insist upon a blanket rule. To chip away at that dictum, even rhetorically, is to play with ancient fire. This guy is disgusting. This guy Piker. Excuse me, cholera. Absolutely disgusting. And he's a big hit among Democrats on the left right now. Big hit. The same goes for carjacking, you're right, shoplifting, IP theft. It's entirely irrelevant whether we are discussing Citarella, Jimmy's Roadside Grocery, or the Greater Manhattan Unionized Cooperative. Stealing is verboten. Morality notwithstanding, this injunction provides us with the predictability that is necessary for our culture to flourish. Hasan Piker does not strike me as a particularly thoughtful person, so it's probable that, well, like so many affluent would-be revolutionaries, he's falsely assumed that the stability he enjoys every day is an intrinsic feature of the natural world. It is not. Each time...
I do understand that. You know what? I think part of the reason why these guys freak the fuck out is because someone who has achieved this level of success in the current system, in the current design of society, is not supposed to fucking rock the boat. Because I should not be cognizant of the instability that the average person experiences on a fucking daily basis. Guys like this, they're confident, they're comfortable, they love the current system because they've benefited tremendously from it. I have too, but I also am aware that regardless of my successes, regardless of my fortune, that this is unfucking bearable for the average person, especially because there is an alternative out there where we can live in a more egalitarian society. So these guys freak the fuck out. They're like, dude, shut the fuck up. I think that's part of it as well, where it's like, dude, what are you fucking saying? You're rich. Shut the fuck up. You know, that's what it is. You're fucking up the bag. But what's funny about it is not Mark Levin saying this. What's funny about it is when I see, you know, ordinary working class stiffs, right? Everyday people who barely make ends meet also defending the same systems by yelling at me and reiterating the fact that I have enjoyed tremendous fortune, right? Like this guy. Hasan Piker was literally a fat little rich kid with a pony. Now he makes a fortune selling Eat the Rich to Nepo commie kids, Lamau. I said broke motherfuckers would rather kill themselves than hear anybody say a better future is possible. There he is. The chubby little prince steps forward to lead his sheep to a communist utopia. Good job, comrade. I have seen something very weird, sinister, and dare I say pedophilic about a lot of the Zionists here too. It happened to the Strokes guy, where they were like, "Oh, you dare criticize the perceived victimhood of American Zionists as they try to defend the atrocities in Gaza? Well, you were 13 years old when you went to an Epstein party." It's like, that's crazy, man. That's a crazy thing that you just decided to do. They're like doing this to me. They're like, "Oh, well, look at this photo when you were fucking 13, fatty." Okay. Yeah, dude. I'd never hid this. You know, I posted this. You didn't find this on your own, you fucking idiot. I posted this shit. What is this? Well, he's a pussy, so we wouldn't ask her any hard questions or say any of that slick shit to her face. So it would be pretty boring, actually. Wait, that's so funny. Okay, nice. Yeah, no, I would never ask any hard questions. I'm a pussy. Yeah, it is incredibly problematic of Julian Casablancas to have been hanging out with pedophiles as a young boy. Like, that is such a crazy thing that San Francisco Chronicle just put out. And it's so obvious why they did that. And everyone understood exactly why San Francisco Chronicle chose to to report on Julian Casablancas being at an Epstein party in 1991 where he would be 13 fucking years old. Okay? 13 years old. He'd be a victim, not an accomplice, right? And it's unbelievable that they thought that this would be great. Like, this would be a real banger. I said, at this point, it's hilarious. Julian Casablancas dares to criticize America, Israel, and Zionists in the Western world. And now you got a major newspaper implying he's an Epstein affiliate. Well, he was a child in 1991, so at most, he's an Epstein victim. This is what we're doing? A resurfaced 1991 photo shows a young Julian Casablancas at a Trump-linked event, drawing attention as the Strokes frontman faces backlash over recent political remarks. This is funny. Why was Julian Casablancas enabling a pedophile like this by being a 13-year-old boy in his vicinity? Have you thought about that? Yeah, Adam Johnson also said, feel like not enough people are pausing to appreciate just how truly deranged this is. Casablancas criticized Israel, then the San Francisco Chronicle rushed to publish an article about a 13-year-old Casablancas attending a Trump-linked event at 13 years old. Linked event. Bears repeating that the target of these deranged intimidation campaigns, whether Claudine Gay's plagiarism or Rama Dawaji's art freelancing, are not the subjects themselves as much as the generalized menace for others to just shut the fuck up and go about their business. A staple of the genre is always all smoke and no fire. Linked, backlash. From who? Remove moral content of political remarks, guilt by association, then guilt by association, and if need be, by associating with people who associate with the associates. This is exactly what's been going on for the past month or so with me. They don't like what I'm saying, so they try to create some kind of tremendous controversy. But what they don't realize is that this kind of shit doesn't work because I'm not a traditional media anchor. I'm not on a corporate sponsored mainstream media outlet where I could be fired, where advertisers could pull their dollars. I am entirely donor funded, okay? And not even donor, but like subscriber funded. So none of this shit works. None of it works. The reality is, yes, donor funded. Donor. Yeah, this is a grassroots movement, and it's grassroots funded. They're trying to get you banned from platforms, I think. It's not. I don't want to be too I don't want to demonstrate too much hubris here, okay? I want to rewind the stream. How can I? You can rewind the stream by subscribing to the Piker Broadcasting Service, PBS, the People's Broadcasting Service, Piker Broadcasting Service, sponsored by you, the people, for you, the people. Your voluntary subscriptions in the form of a Twitch Prime, which is free, or a $6 a month subscription allow you to actually rewind the broadcasts if you are watching from a PC. And many other amenities such as emotes that you can use all around the platform, and the opportunity to be able to send me links with no guarantee that I will click on said links, especially if they're dog shit. They're trying to scare people away from even attempting to listen to you. Yeah, but for every person that's just like, yeah, this guy fucking sucks, I guess, who cares? There are going to be plenty of people who go, let me go check this guy out for myself. So it ends up, because the statements are not true, right? Because the accusations are false. And because my enemies are unbelievably evil, right? Like openly fucking evil, like Mark Levin. Because so many of my chirpers are openly pro-Israel, sometimes even Israel first, so repulsive in other meaningful ways, that eventually, in a long enough timeline, people start recognizing that all the fucking shit talk is coming from places is coming from places where it's, not exactly great people saying this shit. We have already experienced this in this community for years and years with virtually every sex pest, pedophile, and ultra-Zionist on the internet coming after me with the exact same lines of attack that now Mark Levin is using. Right? And at first, maybe a lot of the fucking slop consumers, the drama enjoyers, watched all of these supposedly apolitical centrist content creators and like VTubers that are lolicon enjoyers and things like that. Perhaps they watched that stuff and thought, yeah, no, this guy fucking sucks. This song guy probably sucks, right? But then every single one of those people slowly but surely revealed their hand. They revealed their hand and they showed the world who they truly were. So at that point, you got to make a new calculation. Perhaps these guys were fucking bullshitting. Maybe there's some residual resentment from all the things that you've seen, all the discourse cycles that have taken place over and over again. But I always believe that eventually there's going to be a turning point because it's just simply not true. It's just not true. If you think I'm like running around advocating to murder every fucking CEO or do as much theft as possible, it's just not true. You're not going to get that. If you come in here and you look for that, you're not going to find that. You're going to realize that perhaps I have many reasonable points. You might not immediately agree with it. It's an alternative way of viewing society, an alternative trajectory that we could have for a much better American future, a much better future around the globe for every single person, working class individuals all around the world. But even if we don't agree on the methods, at the end of the day, that is my goal. That is what I want. I want what's best for others. That's it. And I've never shied away from revealing my perspective, right? Atlantic did another one. Something is happening with America's moral code. Oh my fucking Lord. Again.
He receives a payment or swipes his credit card or interacts with his accountant. He's mindlessly assuming that the rules about which he is so painfully glib would hold fast. If, as he insisted twice, it is acceptable to steal from Whole Foods, then there's no good reason that it is unacceptable to steal from Hasan Piker. And I would add, there's no good reason to do whatever you want with Hasan Piker. I don't urge it. I certainly don't recommend it.
I don't urge it, but you should do something about this guy. Okay, Mark, you fucking pussy. Literally out there being like, yeah, you should fucking deal with this guy. You should do something about this guy.
Respect. But that's what this comes down to if Piker wins the day. Why should our liberties apply to him? When if he had his way, he would destroy them. I'll be right back.
I like that he goes in the commercial break after issuing a not so subtle death threat against an American citizen. All right, man.
As the standoff.
All right, buddy. Bo, the elites are so far up your ass, they're clipping 3K viewed YouTube vids. You control the narrative topic. You got them by their balls. Yeah, I mean, he gets more angry after. More angry than demanding someone do something about me, issuing a Republican fatwa. Doesn't this get you mad? No, dude, it doesn't. You want to know why it doesn't get me mad? Because I'm so fucking used to it. Maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe this is a very toxic version of politics that we should not have been used to at all. We should have never gotten used to it at all. Here's another actually article about you, and it's hilarious. Hasan Piker and Gia Tolentino, the leftists who think stealing is great. Actually, shoplifting is bad. I don't even... God. They have no argument. They have no argument at all, which is why they have to do this, right? The argument is, yes, theft is bad. That's why we're talking about systemic looting that takes place that fucks over the working class on a daily basis. That's the whole point. But it's funny that they're just like, oh, dude, you're pro-crime, you're pro-theft, you're pro-murder. I feel bad for Gia Tolentino, who just got caught in the fucking crossfire here, probably in ways that she did not foresee. She probably did not I told them, I warned them ahead of time too. I was like, listen, I'm gonna be honest, like there's probably gonna be a lot of backlash. And we didn't even talk about anything all that controversial, but whatever I engage with, it turns into the madness in the discourse cycle, and yeah, the block is hot. Yeah. Anyway. You became a low-budget Dreyfus affair. The biggest transfer of wealth in history from working people to billionaire hoarders is only accelerating as American systems disintegrate and decline. But yes, please keep obsessively focusing on the Twitch streamer sharing a Netflix password. This is the key to winning elections. Yeah. Harvuka, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Who do you think they perceive more as a threat? You or Carlson? Fuck not. It's not Carlson at all. What are you, crazy? This is when he starts getting angry. If you want to see, he starts going over your whole life.
So he trashes our founding, he trashes our history, trashes our economic system, but he's a leech. He's a leech. He feeds off all of it. The only reason he has free speech is because of our Constitution. The only reason he's wealthy is because of capitalism. The only reason he has a platform, again, is because of our free speech. I've told you many times that the hard left, the Marxists, the Islamists, and so forth, they use our Constitution to destroy our Constitution. They use our liberty to destroy our liberty. Now, I never heard of this guy before until about a month ago. I'll bet most of you haven't either. He's a cancer in the body politic. He's metastasizing. Born July 25, 1991, but he knows everything. Everything.
Why is he talking about my day of birth? Could you please respond? Why do you hate our freedoms? I don't. Obviously, I don't. I'm using them, right? I'm using the freedoms to do what? Advocacy that I don't like. How dare he believe things that I don't believe? How dare he? Yeah, I'm using the Constitution to destroy the right-wing forces in American politics. We can't have that.
Says here that, let's see, in New Brunswick, New Jersey, to Turkish parents. He grew up in Istanbul, was raised as a Muslim. His father's family immigrated from Crete, Greece, to Turkey. His father, Mehmet Beckel Piker, is a political scientist and economist.
Beckel Piker, he's just like, Bechet, okay? He has no idea how to say that. That's funny. Bro said my dad's middle name, bro. I haven't said my dad's middle name in like a decade. That's crazy. Or tried to say my dad's middle name.
His mother, Euker Sedef Piker, is an art and architectural historian teaching at New Jersey Institute of Technology. How many times have I also told you that the worst of the communists and so many of the Islamists come out of these colleges and universities or out of these
no
educational
more education. Who needs to learn about architectural art history?
Institutions. They don't come out of the streets. His uncle's this guy, Cenk Uygur, that fat Slav, also from Turkey, founder of the Young Turks. And Piker returned to the United States, attended the University of Miami, then transferred to Rutgers, where he joined the Theta Delta Chi fraternity. He graduated in 2013 from Rutgers in political science and communication studies. He moved to L.A. 2021. He bought a $2.7 million home, 3,800 square feet, in West Hollywood. But, of course, he's a Marxist. Most of his streams have been filmed in his house. During his senior year of college in 2013, he interned for the Young Turks, filled with hate, Jew hate, America hate, Christian hate. The network ad sales and business department hired him after he graduated, so he worked for a while for his uncle.
This guy knows more about you than I do, and I've been watching you daily for almost 5 years. I think Levin is in love with you. It's crazy. Why does he know so much? I hate this guy. What the fuck? Mossad giving him the talking points? Nah, he probably just went on the Wikipedia page. I think this is just straight up from the Wikipedia page. Pretty sure he's reading the National Review article that was put out on you. Literally just the article that went over your wiki with your controversies mixed in.
Became a host and later producer for the show. He created his own video series in 2016, and then he's off to the races. He added content to the Huffington Post from 2016 to 2018. Started streaming on Twitch. A Twitch streamer. And so he's a disgusting, foul, America-hating, Jew-hating, Christian hating.
He's just reading my Wikipedia page and then going, I hate this. Disgusting. He's an America hater. While sounding like the Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Hating, Mao loving, Hamas loving, 9/11 loving, piece of garbage. And he wouldn't get away with this in any of the countries he loves, I can tell you that. Not any communist regime or Islamist regime. He would have already...
Wait. Isn't that completely false? Like, if I thought all of those other countries hate America and love Mao and love Islamism. Wouldn't that actually go super hard in places like Iran? If I lived in Iran, they would celebrate me, no? Or China? Wouldn't they? Pretty sure if I was a Mao-loving, Hamas-loving, disgusting America hater, I could just like live in China and they'd be perfectly fine with that kind of politics, no?
He'd taken a dive off of a high roof. In other words, pushed. And the Democrats embrace him.
I liked it. He's like taking a dive off a high roof. In other words, pushed. Thank you for clarifying that I would be defenestrated in a different regime, which is ironic because that's what you want to happen to me in this one. In this supposed cherished First Amendment loving Constitution loving broadcast on the Mark Levin show. You are literally demanding that happen to me, which is very funny. You also love it when Israel does that. It's just he's basically demanding that happen here.
They embrace him.
Dude, I want pictures of HasanAbi, that web crawling menace. I do have a tendency to turn everybody into J. Jonah Jameson. I don't know what it is. They're like, I hate the Spider-Man. It's like that meme of the guy going like this at the Mr. Burns is second in command Simpsons meme. He's like this, and I'm just shaking my booty in front of him. No! They're cooking his ass for speaking on you. Hasan Piker represents everything that is evil. Listen for a free. Oh, it's Smithers. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Mr. Smithers. This is just 2019 Alex Jones all over again, mispronouncing your name, bringing up TYT, getting an aneurysm. Yeah, Alex Jones in many respects was ahead of the game. He was ahead of the curve. He was ahead of the curve back then, all the way back in 2019 where he clocked this shit. I will call her at 139, calling you the enemy. You can clearly tell this guy has no idea who you are. 139. Oh, so he like took on callers from his community to be like, we should kill this guy.
I just got to pull up the call screen here. Sirius XM Satellite, how are you?
Mark, I'm doing well. Always a pleasure to speak to you, sir.
Thank you, brother.
This Hasan Piker is evil. He is the enemy. And if this is not a clear case as to why this birthright citizenship is completely wrong.
Bro, you can't be talking about birthright citizenship with that accent, motherfucker. You can't do that. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. He said, yes, Mark, we have to do something about these fucking birthright citizens. What do you mean, bro? What do you mean? What are you doing? Do you have no self-awareness? What the fuck? Mark, we have to do something. Average ICE agent. Oh my God. Ay, 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 por Dios, yo voy a votar por Donald Trump. Ay, ay, ay.
And it makes no sense for us to survive as a country. But I also wanted to get your take, Mark, on dual citizenship. I think
wait. Why do you care about dual citizenship?
that's a problem as well. Bernie Moreno, senator from Ohio, he was crafting some legislation to try to get rid of dual citizenship because I believe that you need to have full allegiance to the United States. You cannot have.
Yeah, why? What would Mark have to say about dual citizenship? Maybe no more dual citizenship for Israel, for example. Would that be on board? Would Mark be on board with no dual citizenship to Israel? Let's see what he had to say.
Allegiance among.
Lose the accent, hermano. No, this is what's so funny about like so many motherfuckers who are like who are Republican, but actually come from backgrounds that Republicans want to forcibly excise from the American state boundaries. It's just like unbelievable. People think, oh, as long as I LARP as a white supremacist, like is fine. I will be fine. I will be spared. You will not be spared, motherfucker. This is why I don't understand, like, the juxtaposition, the inherent contradiction of Nicolas Fuentes. Nicolas Fuentes being Mexican, a Mexican white supremacist. How is that possible? That's the beauty of America in some ways. Okay? That's what it is. Nicolas Fuentes is the most prominent white supremacist in the country. And he's a gay Mexican manlet. It's crazy.
Countries. So I think that's a big problem as well. I would love to get your take on that.
Well, obviously, I know a lot of people who are citizens of the United States and Israel. I know a lot of people who are citizens of the United States and Canada. I know a lot of people are citizens of the United States and Britain. And to me, as long as you're loyal to the United States, I really don't have a problem.
Wait a minute. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. So you don't want the dual citizenship restrictions, because I know a lot of white guys. And more importantly than like, he said Israel first. I didn't say it. He said Israel first before he said Canada, before he said England, before he said the UK. What happened? Mark, what happened? What happened to no dual citizenship, Mark? Folded like a lawn chair. All right, I'm